This has been a hard review to write. Not because I don't know what to say, but because every time I dip back into Satisfactory to look up an item name or confirm some detail, I find myself checking in on the state of my workshop just for a moment, and then several hours have suddenly flown by. That's the magic of this seemingly benign, inexplicably alluring factory simulator. Whether I'm pulling my hair out trying to troubleshoot a problem on the factory floor or running away from very disrespectful, fireball-spitting aliens, every moment spent in this beautifully complex world has been rewarding. Combining the creativity and exploration of Minecraft with the planning and optimization of Factorio, Satisfactory is not only the best game I've played this year, but my favorite automation game of all time. And after over 130 hours, when I finally rejoiced amid a rat's nest of machines after besting the most daunting of engineering demands, I felt a sense of achievement unlike any other. Even if you're skeptical of mercilessly intricate builders, this one stands far above the crowd.
Touchdown. Planetfall complete.
You and up to 3 friends are dropped on an alien planet and told you need to establish a base and produce increasingly complicated materials. Then launch them into outer space to appease your faceless employer, Fix-It Inc. In order to do so, you'll need to harvest natural resources, develop new technologies, and become a master of conveyor belts, pipelines, and eventually even locomotive operations as you triumphantly grow your tiny headquarters into a sprawling labyrinth of moving parts. There isn't much in the way of story.
Welcome to the Fix-It Incorporated Save the Day program.
But the thin veil of its save humanity by building factories premise served as reason enough to keep my head in production plans. Plus, there are a few good jokes along the way, like how your AI assistant constantly reminds you just how expendable you are.
Potential edible collected. If consumed before authorized as compatible with the human digestive system by Fix-It, the consumer is responsible for any and all consequences.
What starts out as a simple process of gathering leaves and mining ore to make basic tools quickly spirals into a convoluted whirlwind of refineries, manufacturing plants, nuclear power grids, and even reality-bending alien technologies. If you're wondering how in the heck assembly line optimization could possibly be fun, I understand your confusion. But in the same way that something like No Man's Sky gives you a ton of creative freedom while offering irresistible goals to chase along the way, Satisfactory never stops providing exciting new reasons to keep playing. I cannot fathom the number of times I promised myself I'd log off after I tweaked just one more thing, only to find myself still tinkering away hours later. Each breakthrough moment organically leads to the next mountain to climb. Like how figuring out oil refineries so you can start the production of plastic, then also lets you craft a rifle and ammo with the byproducts of said refineries. Before you know it, you hear those morning chirps from birds outside your window and realize you might have made a mistake. Managing ever more complex factories can be pretty intimidating at times, but Satisfactory does an absolutely stellar job of nudging you to take small, manageable steps with its checklist of projects to tackle. In no time at all, you and your friends are managing sprawling operations that would have seemed unfathomable at the start. The earliest factory I built began as a few buildings scattered about the untainted wilderness. That rapidly devolved into a web of nonsensically noodle-like conveyor belts. You might call it a disorderly abomination. I call it Spaghettisburg. This amateurish anarchy might look slightly less than optimal, but hey, it got the job done, and I victoriously delivered my Spaghettisburg address to my co-op partners as we launched the fruits of our labor into space amid the mess of mechanical pasta.
77 years ago, we brought forth on this planet a new factory, conceived of stupidity and dedicated to the proposition that we didn't need to plan ahead.
Anyway, later on, my crew's creations became more structured and efficient, like this coastal oil refinery dubbed Gastown, or our railway system, which we suspended in the air for maximum orderliness. The real fun is in watching your mini society evolve as you solve progressively more difficult engineering challenges. That could be optimizing and expanding your power grid to fuel newly unlocked facilities that can produce more complicated parts, or running the math on the ideal ore output of a mining rig to figure out the most efficient way to smelt it into ingots. Going from an unwashed, melee-swinging, conveyor belt-abusing troglodyte to a jet-packing, gun-toting man of tomorrow is immensely satisfying and makes each hard-fought battle of electrical wiring well worth the trouble. When you're not juggling the hundreds of things to do with your factory operations, you'll take to a vast open world to explore the map, battle beasties, evade poison gas in irradiated zones, find hidden treasures, and befriend gross-looking lizard doggos to serve as your loyal companions. Opting for a single, impressively handcrafted world instead of the more common procedurally generated areas found in some of its peers, Satisfactory's map has a diverse set of regions with their own vibes and valuable resources to plunder. They are awesome to explore, and even better to colonize with your hungry machines. As you gain access to new tools, you'll get better equipment to take out into exploration, which then gives you access to even more areas. For example, crafting a gas mask lets you navigate zones overrun with poisonous clouds. Unlocking the jetpack allows you to scale cliffs that would otherwise be difficult to climb. And researching explosives allows you to blast through troublesome rocks so you can delve into caves. Each of these developments completely changes what's possible while out in the world, which in turn allows you to acquire better materials to bring back to your base, creating a loop of building and exploration that just doesn't quit. Of course, it wouldn't be much of an alien planet if there weren't hostile critters who are quite interested in seeing your violent demise, be that boar-like creatures who charge at you or large glowing plants that spit out stinging fireflies. You'll unlock a few melee weapons and some basic guns, but combat clearly isn't the intended focus of Satisfactory, and it isn't anything special as a result. It only took me a few hours before I realized I'd seen just about everything combat had to offer, and while it's not actively bad, it's just a bit forgettable when the building and exploration are so great. The alien wildlife provides a touch of danger whenever you go looking for new resources, but it's still a bit disappointing that there only seem to be 4 types of creatures to encounter, each with a few different variations that make them more deadly, but not any more interesting to fight. Playing Satisfactory alone can be a lot of fun, but once you add friends to the mix, it goes from great to downright amazing. Not only does building with friends allow you to get things done more quickly and bounce ideas off one another, but you can each take to a different part of the map and still work towards shared goals by building infrastructure to transport goods and players from place to place. One especially cool aspect is that once you unlock supernatural alien technology that defies the laws of physics, which happens surprisingly early, you can begin sharing resources with one another remotely by uploading your bounty to the Dimensional Depot, which anyone can then pull items from at any time. This creates a really cool dynamic where a player you haven't seen in the world for several hours can pipe up to ask for your help with something, and you can virtually hand them the resources they need to solve their problem. If there's one real issue with Satisfactory, it's that sometimes its ambition exceeds its grasp, leading to a pretty steady stream of obnoxious performance issues and bugs. Crashes were a regular occurrence for my crew, especially for those joining my world for multiplayer. And as your factory grows to an absurd size and complexity, you'll start to see pop-in, weird textures and frame rate dips with increasing frequency. I played on 3 separate PCs of varying levels of power for this review, and though each could run Satisfactory fine at the outset, By the end, only my Ryzen 9 RTX 4090 system could do so without at least moderate issues. You'll likely need a fairly powerful rig to run this one with true consistency. But the good news is that even when it was struggling, those problems were only ever an annoyance rather than anything so severe that they made us want to stop playing. Satisfactory is the best automation game ever made, and I seriously cannot recommend it enough. Every moment of the over 130 hours it took to build messy conveyor belt disasters and delightfully efficient factories was engaging, ridiculous, and an absolute blast with friends. Exploring this gorgeous, bespoke world in search of secrets and resources serves as a fantastic change of pace from constructing assembly lines, even when combat doesn't offer much more than a few simple aliens to shoot at. It's a drag that Satisfactory's insatiable appetite for electronics also results in regular technical annoyances, but none of them come close to souring the stellar factory builder. For more fantastic games, check out our recent reviews of Astrobot and World of Warcraft: The War Within. And for everything else, stick with IGN.